If you're a Cleveland Browns fan looking for a break from the emotional roller coaster that is the price we pay from loving then hating our Browns, then a big welcome to Cleveland Browns Anonymous, a group therapy podcast to help you survive the season. So let's start our meeting.
Hi, everybody. This is Mike Riley with Brook and Amari, our engineer, on a Victory Monday. But to listen to a lot of the Cleveland Browns fans doesn't sound much like a victory. And they're like, yeah, it's a good victory. Yeah, but it's the Dolphins. They suck. And when's Shedeur going to play? Now, that's not 100% of what people are saying, but so I'm sorry. That's listening to Uncle Rizzy, his crew, like, when's Shedeur going to play? And I have a feeling we're going down Johnny Manziel road here, where we had a capable quarterback, not lights out Tom Brady time, but Brian Hoyer, who had the Browns out to a 7-3 record. And then people wanted Johnny. Where's Johnny? When's Johnny going to start? And of course, the Browns then quickly imploded. General thoughts, Brook, on our Victory Monday?
Hey, a win's a win. And, it was a good win because they didn't just skate by. They won by 25.
I mean, they didn't kick a field goal with 10 seconds left to eke one out over the shitty Dolphins?
Yeah, the Dolphins are, at the end of the day, yeah, they're a bad team, but they're still
an NFL team.
Yeah, you beat them at home. You beat them by 20 plus points. Didn't turn it over. Defense played great. I thought Stefanski had a great plan. Run the ball, some play action. It was a shitty day. It was rainy. It was windy. And the whole Shedeur thing, I don't think there's any conspiracy thing here. I think if he was ready, he would be playing. But I think if you are questioning if he's ready to play, just see what he did a couple weeks ago in his press conference, and I'm using air quotes here, in the locker room where he was doing these miming answers and he was just acting like a
20-year-old.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you got Dylan Gabriel, who looks like a mature guy. I think he's a good fit for what Stefanski wants. He's, a game manager. He's not going to turn it over. He's not going to have a lights out 400 yards passing. But I think it's important to look at his past 3 games. His first game was in London against a really good Minnesota team. So already, a top 5 defense in an environment that is, he's not used to. His second game was in Pittsburgh, and the game plan for that was just abysmal, where Stefanski had him throw 50 plus times. And his third game was his first game at home with weather conditions that were as bad as they could get, minus some snow. So,
and no turnovers?
And no turnovers. So I think all in all, I thought it was a great game. It was a great win. I'm happy for Stefanski. Just seeing his locker room speech after, it was so refreshing to see him with some fucking attitude.
I heard that he tore into the offense on Monday. Yeah, that's the word on the street, that he just lit into these people. And, I think the same thing with Jim Schwartz and Miles. First of all, Dylan Gabriel has not turned the ball over. So for the Browns to win, for really any team in the NFL to win, you don't beat yourself. Let's look on the little glass half full here. And half full right now, this game, they're getting back into the zone option blocking. And they had 6 guys on the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aiden Huntington was replacing tight end. They had 6 beefy linemen, and they were running the old Nick Chubb, Bill Callahan option blocking. And that's what freed Judkins for that, 46-yard TD run. It was the old Browns with Nick Chubb. They were moving Gabriel around. He had a couple rollouts, bootlegs, which I'm glad Stefanski remembered those plays. I mean, their game plan was simple. Don't turn the ball over, heavy on the run, protect Gabriel, and then strong special teams. I mean, and our field goal kicker, Schmidt, 5 for 5, right? 5 for 5. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. In those conditions, you striped every one of them. We also got a special teams turnover. So I don't care if it's the Dolphins. If the Browns had played like this against the Vikings in that last, and this is one of the big tells, Schwartz finally unleashed his blitzes. He's been relying too much on the 4-man rush. And albeit, hey, the Browns got a great defensive line, but Miles is getting triple teamed. And some of the key turnovers happened when they blitzed on Miles' side. Miles did a stunt. Delpit came in. They were doing a lot of exotic blitzes about 30-40% of the time. That led directly to turnovers. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz yesterday had 2 crucial interceptions.
You mean Tua?
No, Carson Wentz in the Vikings game.
Oh, against the Eagles?
Yeah. And guess what? They blitzed him. They put the pressure on, he panicked, and Carson Wentz will do what Carson Wentz does. Meanwhile, the Browns, when they played the Vikings had 6-7 guys in blocking. Their O-line was decimated, so they haven't played a lot together. They'd be open to exotic kind of stunts and blitzes and stuff like that. And Miles, I'm sure he had to sit down with Jim Schwartz after his outburst, along with Grant Delpit and a few other the veteran players. And they said, you know what? Can you take the gloves off on the pass rush? And look what happened. Ian, pick 6, another interception, got it down to 3 yards. That's how the Browns win. That's how any NFL team wins. So we got back to the run. We got back to the defense that can create turnovers, not play prevent defense. And I tell you, if we had this Browns team that played against the Dolphins, replay that game against the Vikings, we win that game. We have the Browns playing like we played today against the Bengals, where Schmidt's making field goals, and you have guys like Jamari Thrash actually playing or catching the ball, as opposed to Judy and...
Yeah, they'd probably be 4-3.
Yeah, 4-3. 4-3. Probably would have had a fighting chance against the Ravens, who obviously in retrospect really suck.
Yeah. Well, this will be a good game.
I mean, the New England game is going to answer a lot of questions because New England has been playing a lot of chumps in their schedule.
Yep.
I think their last 3 games, who'd they play?
Well, they beat the Bills in Buffalo.
Okay.
That was a statement, man. But they just played the Titans, which suck.
Yeah. You want to look up, Amari?
They played the Bills. They won that.
That's the New England Patriots.
That's a great
schedule. Yeah, they played 3 pretty shitty teams. Meanwhile,
the Bills are shitty.
I think the Bills are like the LA Chargers. I think they're a little overrated.
It was a primetime game in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that was a real kind of stadium.
I'll give him, and at Vrabel's got him playing well. This will be interesting to see. A very good test to the Browns, because I think Drake May, if Jim Schwartz can let it loose, I think Drake May is a guy that likes to hold the ball, likes to run with the ball. In fact, they've been criticizing him for holding on to the ball too long, trying to be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
That could really help the Browns. Amari, so who have the Patriots played?
Who have they played already?
Yeah, last 3 games.
Last 3 games would be Titans, Saints, Bills.
Okay, yeah. New Orleans Saints.
So 2 out of the 3 are bad.
And who else did they play?
Panthers, Steelers.
How'd they do against the Steelers?
Steelers won 21-14. And they lost to Vegas.
Yeah.
They're a really good test.
Yeah, they're an good test. They're on the road.
They're not bad. They're not a juggernaut. They're a really good up-and-coming team that is well coached.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see Is Schwartz going to just keep pedal to the metal? I hope so.
Right.
Is Stefanski going to get creative with, like I loved it at the goal line.
Oh, thank you.
Those Wildcat to Judkins. It's like, just give him the ball.
Well, Lance Riesland, who I really like, said on today's podcast, he said, our shitty offensive tackles, who's that guy? KT Levinson. Well, Lance Riesland made a great point. He says, KT Levinson is what Wyatt Teller was when he got picked up the trash heap 4 or 5 years ago. Bill Callahan molded him. Wyatt Teller is a road grader on runs. He loves to pull and just beat down people in the interior of the line. And that's what this KT. Wow. KT. Nothing bad can happen if you just run the ball, right? Let them load up. And I love that they're getting Jamari Thrash some action because I think Dylan Gabriel needs that receiver. Like, I'm not saying Thrash is like Cooper Kupp, but every quarterback.
Safety blanket.
Right. Who's a Jared Goff's guy?
Amaz St. Brown.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are doing Jarvis Landry stuff.
Yeah.
They're just kind of.
And Drake May's got his and Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. I'm not saying Thrash is Stephon Diggs, but Thrashes could be that player where just, if they can catch the ball and they're running good routes, teams are playing zone anyways, right? And if you get Gabriel rolling out on bootlegs, throwing to Fannin, throwing to Thrash, these guys are going to catch the ball and you're going to keep these drives going. I just am amazed at how people are just, I don't know, they're not dissing Dylan Gabriel, but they're saying, when are we going to see Shedeur? My last recollection of Shedeur was against the third string Rams in preseason. The third game, third string Rams. I think most of those players got cut and Shedeur was fumbling. Now, granted, I get it. He had our third stringers in there, but then Huntley came in. Finally, Kevin had just seen enough and took Shedeur out, put Huntley in. Huntley just marches him down for a field goal. They win their last exhibition game. So people will say, well, Shedeur's got more upside. And this is another critical point post-game. Shedeur got more upside. Listen, guys, we win a couple of games in this division. We beat New England. We got the softer spot of our schedule. We start getting some Dylan Gabriel keeps getting better. We get that O-line stabilized, Judkins. That defense gets unleashed. This season's only a third over, right? There's been a lot of teams that have come back from slow start. I think the Browns will say, look, this is not a developmental year. Plus the fact that, what does it say to the locker room that we're going to try out Shedeur?
Yeah. I mean, a big thing is if you intentionally lose with young players, that's you telling them it's okay to lose.
Right.
That's why the Sashi Brown,
the rebuild
was just such a fad. It just sent this message through the locker, and that made free agents not want to want to play here. But that's why when John Dorsey came here, he's like, we're done. I don't care what I have to pay to get Jarvis Landry and Tyrod in here. If I need some grown-ups and I need some guys in the locker room who are going to send a message. And you could see it. I remember because the Browns were on the Hard Knocks. There was a clip of Jarvis in the wide group receivers room, with Corey Coleman and all these young guys who were so used to losing. And Jarvis was like, we're done. We're done losing here. In a way, it's like, do I want the Browns to lose so they get a higher draft pick? No. In a perfect world, I was just taking it one game at a time. I want to see improvement from Dylan Gabriel. Like, it was so great yesterday seeing Mason Graham.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. There was a play. The Dolphins were at like the 3. Mason Graham tore through it and he threw the running back to the ground and he was all pumped up. Schlesinger was busting out. Judkins.
Well, and the guy we got for Newsom, what's his name?
I don't know. We got a pick six.
Pick six. He was all over the field too.
Yeah.
Everybody is now, it's funny. It's like, it's amazing what winning does. I just don't want to win stupid. And that's the definition of the Browns. I don't want to lose stupid. I should say. The fact is, when you're clanking balls off the helmet in that Pittsburgh game, where you're throwing 58 times, you're giving up on the run, you're not going heavy on the run and just ramming it down Pittsburgh's throat. You're not double teaming, TJ Watt, just smacking him around. When you're dropping passes and you let these guys who are dropping passes keep playing, that's just losing stupid. And I think that's what's demoralizing. It's one thing if it's like, when the Titans won, they beat, who was that team 2 weeks ago?
Oh, the Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
That's winning stupid.
Yeah. That's just a lucky ball.
Yeah.
Luckiest ball. Yeah. But I think you've got to feel like you're getting better every week. You're not just going around in circles, which is what Stefanski has been doing. Stefanski had his, and I'm hoping this sets in, Stefanski had his primal moment. You're getting fired if you don't change. Nobody wants to hear how you need to coach better. You better light up that locker room and start holding people's feet to the fire and making them accountable. If you don't do that, you're gone. And you saw the difference. He's running. He's got 6 guys on the line. They're going after the quarterback. It's a whole different way of playing. So this Sunday is going to say a lot.
This is a big game.
Yeah. I think another thing I want to mention is a couple of things. One is there is an element to how the Browns, it's not just the front end of their schedule, but their travel. They go out and they play the Vikings in London. The Vikings were already there in Ireland. So they're already acclimated with the time change and the jet lag. And the jet lag's a very real thing. And then they got to come back and play Pittsburgh on the road. Okay?
It's a gauntlet.
Think about that as contributing to their losing streak. And speaking of losing streak, let's not forget the Guardians. 10-game losing streak. Everybody, including me, was writing off the Guards. They end up in the playoffs. Now, are the Browns going to end up in the playoffs? I don't know. It's a possibility. You've had teams from the AFC South make, with a 9-8 record or even an 8-9 record in our division with the Ravens imploding, Bengals, Steelers. So, yeah, let's not hit the panic button and start saying we need to play Shedeur and see what he's got when you're 1/3 of the season through. Let's build on getting Gabriel better.
Hey, let's stop here. We got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, and we'll be back. Getting your house ready to sell, or you just need some basic repairs, and you can't get anybody to come out or even return your phone call. Then call Riley Painting and Contracting, your home mechanics, for all of your home repair needs, from electrical, plumbing, roof repairs, and getting your house ready to sell. 45 years in the business, a AAA on the Better Business Bureau, and we're on the preferred contractor list in Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights. You can contact us by calling 216-371-8160 and leave a message. And guess what? We'll call you back.
That's why, his first 3 games have been, if you were to come up with hey, what do you think the 3 hardest games are to play for a rookie? I'm not saying that's number 1, but that's top 5. Oh, yeah, you got to go to London and you got to play Brian Flores.
Right.
Okay, next you got to go to Pittsburgh where we haven't won in 20 games.
Yeah, after playing in London.
After that, then you have to go home, play a team that's about your level. Oh, and by the way, it's going to be 50 miles per hour and rainy.
Yeah.
And he hasn't thrown a pick.
And he hasn't fumbled.
He hasn't fumbled.
I mean, people forget, hey, I love Joe Flacco. Good for Joe Flacco. Now he's got he could just wing it, throw it up there. And Joe Flacco should not be blamed for some of those interceptions. The Cincy game, even that game when Judy falls down.
Well, it's funny. I know where you're going on this. The difference, though, is the Bengals have the best wide receiver in the league, and they have probably the best number 2 receiver in the league. I was listening to my football podcast yesterday on my run, and they were asking Flacco after that Thursday night game. And he was like, yeah, I don't know the playbook. I would get the plays from the coach and be like, option 1 is here, option 2 is this. And Flacco said, because I guess the Cincy coach has some like accent on the headset, he's like, I don't know what he's saying. So he was like, you know what I'm going to do? And Flacco said this, I'm just going to throw the ball to the best wide receiver in the league.
Thank you.
And that guy had 140 yards.
He must.
Touchdown, 23 targets.
He must be.
That's why Mike Tomlin is so pissed.
Yeah.
Because besides Tom Brady, who's beaten Tomlin the most, Tom Brady is 1, Joe Flacco is 2.
Yeah.
So when Tomlin saw, he was like, I'm playing him next.
Yeah. Joe Flacco, I was going to say, the INTs, the conservative play calling by Stefanski, play not to lose, play calling, that is not Joe Flacco, gunslinger's MO. But on the other hand, Joe Flacco can lose. I mean, he can get hit, run out, lose the ball. There were a lot of turnovers that just were demoralizing. I wish Joe well. I love Joe Flacco. He will always have a little bit of bleeding orange in him.
All I'm saying is,
but no, let's go with Gabriel. And you could come out of this year with a 9-8 record. In fact, Amari, if you could tee up the Browns' remaining games, let's just do a quick.
Before you do that, all I'm saying is it does help to have wide receivers.
Oh, I agree.
Really fucking good.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jeudy is an average player. But other than that, we have a lot of guys they're just guys. So I think that's why you've got this Ford Raptor in the garage in Quinshon Judkins. Just give him the ball 30 times, and then that tees up Fannin, that tees up Judy, that
Fresh,
so
yeah.
That's why throwing it 50 times in Pittsburgh is the dumbest thing.
Yeah. No, it's malpractice. And that's what the commentator said. Okay, so right now we're 2-5. We got New England next. Now let's just say we pull off a miracle win. All right. We're 3-5. Then we get our bye, right? Our bye week is after the New England game.
Jets.
Here, so wait a minute. We got our bye. Then the next game is the Jets, right? Okay, I'm going to give the Browns the Jets game. Okay, so that's 4-5. Next.
Baltimore. Home.
I don't know. I'm going to say we lose to Baltimore. So we're back to 4-6. Okay? Next.
Raiders. Away.
I'm going to give it to the Browns.
We always lose against that team.
That team sucks, though. That team is bad. The Raiders. I mean, I'm not saying the Browns are, but I'm just saying between the Baltimore and Raiders, one of those games we're going to lose and one of those games we're going to win. I could see us beating Baltimore.
But couldn't you see us beating the Ravens and then losing to the Jets?
Yes. Okay. So after the end of the Raiders, we're now 5-6, right? Okay. Who's after the Raiders?
49ers.
Ooh.
Home.
Home.
Yeah. Sorry. Home.
I could see us winning that.
Okay.
6-6. Come on.
Then we're home against the Titans.
Oh, okay. 7-6.
Then we're at the Bears.
I don't know.
Home versus the Bills. Home, Pittsburgh. Then finishing at Cincy.
At Cincy. Okay. The Bears at home. I'm going to give us the Bears at Humpy.
The Bears away.
Okay. lose to the Bills are at home or?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to say between the Bears and the Bills, we're going to split that. So we're back to 8-7. Pittsburgh at home.
Run away.
I think we could win that day.
We'll win that.
9-7. So going into Cincy, we could theoretically be, and even if we lose to Cincy and it's 9-8, but Gabriel is getting slowly tick it up, we're going into the year just loaded up. This season is not over, okay? But I think the New England game is going to be a really interesting talisman because if we can win on the road in New England and that defense can force some turnovers, Gabriel can just ground and pound, special teams, just win ugly. Then that sets us up for the bye, and then we got the Jets and a Baltimore team that's imploding. So, yeah, Amari, take a picture of this.
Okay.
And I'll read off. We'll see how our predictions work out. Final thoughts, Brook?
I got to say, I like those uniforms and the helmet.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, too, are that the Browns are a really good 2-5 team.
They're not the Titans. They're not the Jets. They're not the Dolphins.
They're like the Giants.
Yeah.
They're young. They're good. I mean, look at what the Giants did yesterday.
That's how the Browns would lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Giants aren't getting shit on like the Browns. The Browns get shit on because it's the Browns. It's the 40 quarterbacks. That's the Hugh Jackson. It's the 0-16. It's like...
It's the dysfunctional front office.
Yeah, so it's
the endless parade of quarterbacks and head coaches.
So I'm just taking it one game at a time. I enjoyed that win. Super satisfying. So,
well, then look who's ascending. Look who's ascending in the NFL. The Colts, the Lions. Lions aren't necessarily ascending, but the Colts and the Lions, I mean, that is a fun team to watch.
So I heard something that was really cool. I mean, the Colts, from like a statistical standpoint, are putting up numbers close to what the 2007 New England team did. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But the redeeming point, they made a great comparison to what the Colts are doing now to when Tampa Bay got Tom Brady, where they were just drafting super well. They were just drafting as players, but their quarterback play was just like, oh my God, not good. Finally, when they got Daniel Jones, who fits perfectly into the system, it all kind of just clicked.
I know.
And then what happened with the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Where they got a great offensive line. Great. That's why Baker's doing so well. Yes, he's got a great line. His receivers are amazing. He's got the right coach. Probably helps that he's playing in the right kind of like temperature. Like he needs that outside warm.
You got to wonder about Stefanski. I mean, I'll be interested to see how he develops Dylan Gabriel, because he did a horrible job developing Baker.
Mm.
I mean, you think about Brian Dable. What's his face? Getting out of the Giants, going to the Colts. This guy must be...
That doesn't look good for him.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. It's like Baker. But you know what? Baker was in the wilderness. Carolina didn't want him. He was with the Rams. He had a nice little run with the Rams. And Tampa Bay picks him up. And, Baker's just like this, you go to the dog pound, Rocco. I mean, that's kind of Baker. He's kind of abused dog.
Well, Baker's the type of guy where if he's got a chip on his shoulder,
yeah,
like there's no stop.
Yeah. And look how Stefanski handled, I said this earlier podcast, look how Stefanski handled the OBJ thing. He never backed up Baker.
Yeah. Baker saw that, was like, fuck you.
I know. And that's where I'm hoping Stefanski, maybe, a near-death experience last week, where, he's like, hey, listen, clock's ticking, man. You're going to get fired. I don't care how many Coach of the Year awards you won. I mean, you suck. You're 58 times. We saw that last year. with Jameis. No wonder he's throwing 4, 5, 6 interceptions, pick sixes and stuff. Play calling was terrible. But that's the thing about the NFL, these lifers, these Pat Shermers and whatever. Brian Dable's probably in the same where they just live off their reputation. Remember Greg Williams? Greg Williams, every time Greg Williams, defensive coordinator, would go on the field, I mean, the commentators would say, well, there's Greg Williams' defense, and stuff like that. And he's the guy who was the Jets' defensive coordinator, who, on the last play of the game, his defense was on there. He had these guys play man-to-man, and they blitzed.
I just hope that, and I'm scared to think, so I hope this doesn't happen, but I don't want Stefanski to be like the modern-day version of Jeff, what's that guy's name? Jeff Fisher?
Oh, yeah.
The Rams? 9-8, 8-9, 7-10.
Pedestrian.
And then you get this young kid, Sean McVay.
Oh, yeah. Now see, that's a genius coach, although he did get his lunch taken by Belichick in the Super Bowl. But
McVay's
look what he's doing with the Rams now. The Rams, he smoked Jacksonville in London.
Like if a genie said you can have any head coach, who would it be? Sean McVay.
Yeah.
So I hope with the Browns and Stefanski, that's why I say I really want to see how this team responds next week.
Yeah.
In New England.
Yeah, Stefanski's got to evolve, like Baker evolved. And then the famous story of Vince Lombardi, if you watch that HBO documentary, he goes from being an assistant in the mid-50s with Army under the famous Red Blake. I think that's his name. Army was like powerhouse. It's like Ohio State is now. And he's a defensive coordinator, one of the head coaches. Then he goes and gets, offensive coordinator with the Giants. And a young Tom Landry is the defensive coordinator. His first training camp, he's doing that rah-rah bullshit with the Giant veterans, the Frank Giffords, the Charlie Connerly. I mean, these guys have been in the league, and they're like, what is this shit about? And he's not getting it. And Frank Gifford said Lombardi came in to their room, and this is when they trained in the summer in these colleges and stuff. He says, what am I doing wrong? And that's what Stefanski has to change his spots. He has to adapt. He has to remember what's working, given his players, and this is where it's encouraging these getting back to the ground and pound.
I seem to see it consistently.
Yeah.
Because to see it again.
Yeah.
And if they lose to New England 35-32, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if they lose 27-6 and it's pass.
Well, then you got to ask some questions about the defense. Is this historic top 5 defense only good when the weather's shitty? Or
if they're at home.
I remember when on the road, they suck. They suck on the road. I remember the Texan playoff game 2 years ago. Yeah, the Texans just went up and down the field. I remember when the Browns with Baker at quarterback his last year, they went to New England, Mac Jones. This is the famous Joe Woods defense. And Mac Jones, he went up and down the field on that defense. So the Browns have got to go into New England and they've got to dominate that offense. They got to dominate that offense, and they can do that. They did very, very well in Detroit and in Pittsburgh and in Baltimore. The 3 games they lost. They were in the game, and then Stefanski just blew it in the second half. So we'll pick this up after the New England game. Lots to talk about. All right, thanks, everybody.
Right.
Thanks, Amari. Thanks, Brook.
Thank you for listening to the Cleveland Browns Anonymous podcast with Mike Riley. We have a lot more content on the way as we get this new podcast started. You can also check out some of our other podcasts like the Cleveland Real Estate Investor Podcast and other new ones that will start soon. On any platform that you find yourself listening to us on, feel free to leave us a like or comment or follow us. It always helps.